Hi there, welcome to the YouTube channel. Please, if you haven't been here before, hit the subscribe button. It'll appear over here in a second. I'm desperately trying to get up to 300 before Christmas, 284 as we go at the moment, so please subscribe before I go on to the deck tech today. Right, hopefully now you've subscribed, or if you're a returning viewer, hello again. We're here. One of the cards that came up on my stream on, well, later last week was this one. And to be honest, I didn't even realise it was in the set until someone mentioned it. It's the Mycotyrant. 1 black green for a starred elder fungus creature. Has trample. And its power and toughness are each equals the number of creatures you control that are fungus or fungi and all saplings. And at the beginning of your end step, each create X 1/1 black fungus creatures that can't block, where X is the number of times you've descended this turn. And as you know, you descend every time a permanent is put into your graveyard from anywhere. So it can be, milling, so on and so forth. Yeah, I've had a vague recollection of the card. I hadn't really thought about it at all. Someone asked me how I'd build it, and that gave me a bit of impetus to take this card on and see what we do. So here we go for today's deck tech. As usual, this can be played in real life as well. It's not too bad in real life, but we'll go through the mana base. Black and green lands all the way through. Fertile thickets here, just so we can go and find basics. We've got a whole load of forests, a whole load of swamps, Yavimar Cradle, Urborgs here, Temple of the False God, Tainted Wood, Woodland Cemetery, Woodland Chasm. That's really it. There's nothing really that fancy in the deck for the land base wise. I suppose we could mention Riveteer's Overlook, sorry. That's really it. It's not a fancy land wise. Then we've got Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and the green and the black medallions, Emerald and Jet, if you don't remember what they're called. And yeah, we've got low creature count in this deck because what we want to try and do is get things in the graveyard. Well, what I'm aiming to do with this deck is get the Mycotyrant into play and then protected with either the Greaves or the Swiftfoot Boots. And then try and mill my deck away and do one-shot attacks is the plan. The trample really helps. Would help if we had first strike and things, but I'm not worried about that. We've got trample, which is all I really care about. So how are we going to do it? Well, it's very much like this. So, starting with 1-drops. We got a little bit of ramp with Birds of Paradise and Gilded Goose and traverse the overworld to go and find one of the basic lands we may be missing, a swamp or a forest, depending on what we've got in our hand. We've also got an earth. We have a few creatures that are mana value 3 or less, and getting them back in to play from the graveyard when we've milled them away could be useful. 2-drops. Bramble Familiar from Wilds of Eldraine makes an appearance. We really want to play this for the fetch quest where we're milling 7. Hopefully we'll be doing that when the Tyrant's in play. And then we get to put in a creature, enchantment or land card from among the milled cards onto the battlefield. Yeah, quite like that. And then, if we do have to cast it as a mana ramp creature, get it back to our hand at some stage when we've got the mana to do it, and just keep repeating it. Hopefully that makes the Tyrant big enough that we just go smack, there it is, it's done and dusted. Canker Blooms here, just for a little bit of artifact and enchantment control. Commune the Gods, just go and find a creature and then we'll just mill the stuff into our graveyard, which is lovely for the Mycotyrant. Same with Fork in the Road. Search your library for 2 basic lands, 1 into play, 1 into the graveyard. Go with that. Fungal Plots gives us a way of exiling creature cards from our graveyard to create saplings, and then we can get some saplings to sack off the saplings when we get a few more and gain some life. Gather the Pack, reveal the top 5 cards of your library, put a creature card from among them in your hand, the rest in your graveyard. Fine, no problem with that. Mulch is Mulch, we all know what Mulch does, same idea. Get a land card into our hand, your lands into our hand, the rest in our graveyard. Nature's Law and 3 visits are here to go and fetch out some of the forests we have in play, so when I can find them and show off that I'm not there. You go. Haunted Meres here, we've got Overgrown Tomb, we've got another one somewhere. There you go, Woodland Chasm. So we can go and fetch them out to make sure we hit our land colours we need. Roots of Wisdom, another one that mills stuff and returns the land. There's no elves. And if we can't, we draw a card. That's all good to me. The Kuraza Guild Mage is also here, just so we can sacrifice some of our creatures off and gain some saplings we do. So if you can hear anything in the background, it's my dog playing with her bed. Necrogenesis is a little bit more interesting in this deck though, because we can exile a card from any graveyard to get sapling. So if someone else is playing a reanimation theme, we could just deal with it and have done with it, so we haven't got to worry about it. Slimefoot, the stowaway from the original Domeria set, is also here. Whenever a sapling we control dies, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, we gain a life. And in 4 mana, we get to create the saplings, but, you know, we've got probably more efficient ways of making saplings than what we should have. Over in the 4-drop land, Damnation, just to give us a little bit of board control that we may need. Spore Swarm to give us a whole load of saplings if we need them. Venture Forth, just to get lands out of our library into play. I do like this one as a suspend card. I think it's quite one of the better commander cards to come out of the Battle for Baldur's Gate. It's just nice to spend it for 2, takes 3 turns, you get a land, it goes back on suspend again unless someone counters it, and it just keeps going and going and going, which, from my point of view, is very useful. Corpsejack Menace is also here. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many are put on there instead. The only real way we've got doing +1/+1 counters is, well, we haven't actually, to be fair, but it's a 4/4 mana it's a fungus. It's 4/4 for 4. I needed a fungus. There you go. Netima, Primeval Warden, is also here. If a creature you and opponent controls would die, exile it instead. We get sapling, and then sack a sapling to pump this. Sacrifice 2 saplings to draw a card. Nice. And then we've got our recursion. We've got Bond of Revival. We've got Graveyard Shift, Summon Undead, which is probably a little bit more fun than some of them because it does actually let us mill 3 cards as well, so more triggers for the Mycotyrant. I've gone with Alcazalta, Deepest Betrayal, because get people to discard things sounds good, and at the end of the day it turns into another land we may need it to, but it's also got lifelink, so it might give us a way of getting some life back. Animal Magnetism, reveal top 5 cards of our library, an opponent chooses a creature card from among them, that in your grave battlefield, the rest into your graveyard. Okay. Tendershoot Dryad gives us a sapling every upkeep, everyone's upkeep, and then once we hit the City's Blessing, they become 3/3s instead of 1/1s, which is nice. Walk the Ancestors, one of the new cards from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Return a permanent, so this is slightly better reanimation because it returns anything from our graveyard. And then we get to discover 4. Hopefully hit something useful from down here. Lycanthrope from Visions, of all things. If damage will be dealt to the Lycanthrope, put that many -1/-1 counters on it instead. And at the beginning of your upkeep, remove a -1/-1 counter from the Lycanthrope. Might be a blocker that stays in play for a while and annoy your opponents. The Mycoloth is here to devour some of the creatures as it comes into the battlefield. Hopefully a whole load of the saplings we already have. The other Oja Kazalim, Deepest Growth, is here. I've kind of fallen in love with this card. I've built a whole deck around it. You can go and find it on the channel. It's there. But in this deck, it's just another way of getting some of our creatures into play, which is fine by me. Primal Command gives us a way to shuffle everything back in if we need to, if things go completely pear-shaped, as well as go and find a creature card, which we may need. Spore Mound is a fungus that when we hit the landfall gives us a sapling, which I like. Blight Titan, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you mill 2, then you incubate X, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Not going to really help pump up the Mycotyrant, but it does do some other useful things in the background, like give us more tokens we can transform and then attack with. Moving on from the Blight Titan, we have Ever After. Hello, Ever After. Thank you. Come on. There we go. Return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of them becomes zombies. No issue with that. That's a nice way of getting some back of the creatures we may need. Nemata, the Grove Guardian. This is the Planeshift version. It's also uncommon now if you want to look it up. 3 mana, get a sapling, sacrifice a sapling. All the other saplings get +1/+1 until the end of turn. Something to sink our mana in when we need it to. And Verdloth the Ancient. Permanent pump for the saplings, and if we can kick it for just a little bit, some extra saplings would be really nice. Thank you very much. Morbid Bloom gives us a bit of targeted removal that can take out something that's annoying us. Etali springs to mind, especially if we can get it killed off. Exile a target creature from a graveyard, then create X/1/1 green sapling creature tokens where X is the exiled creature's toughness. If we can kill off Etali or something big and then just exile it so our opponents can't replay it and get loads of saplings, I'm happy with that. Boneyard Parlay from the original Ixalan set. I think people forget this one as well. 7 mana is expensive. I'm not going to argue about it. But exile up to 5 target creature cards from graveyards. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put all the cards from the pile of your choice onto the battlefield and under your control, and the rest into their owner's graveyards. Hopefully we'll get some good creatures off this. A little bit of a win condition with Crater Hoof Behemoth to come on board and basically pump up all our saplings we've got to trample over and win the game. Verdant Force, helps with this as well, creating all those 1/1 saplings every upkeep, a bit like our wonderful Tender Shoot Dryad, but a little bit more expensive and a bit bigger. Last 2 cards, Boulder Hulk. Costs 1 less for each creature in our graveyard. Probably not going to get that, but it does return a land if we need to. If we've had to mill a land away at some stage, this does get us 1 back. And the final card is Rise of the Dark Realms. We should have a lot of mana with this deck, I think, between all the ways we've got of finding mana and so on and so forth. Nicking everyone's creatures in a turn of our choosing could be really useful, especially if they've just milled them away and haven't really thought about what could happen to their creatures. And that's it. That's my really fast take on the Mycotyrant. I suspect it can be made slightly more powerful than I have done at the moment. I suspect there may be more funguses that I've missed out that could be in the deck that I haven't included. Notice I haven't included any of the ones that get spore counters. I could have gone down that road, but there's been a lot of decks like that, and they tend to work better in the things where you get to proliferate up the tokens a bit more. So you can change the whole creature base around to play all the funguses if you want to. Get all those nice spore counters, then remove the spore counters to get the saplings that way. I've tried to avoid it. It could be something I change the deck to once I've played it. I mean, this is me thinking off the top of my head today. I haven't tested this deck at all, unlike the other ones I've done this week. So I'm hoping this will still work out and be fine. But that's it for now. Hope you've enjoyed the slightly short video today. I'm sorry for the noise where the dog was playing with her bed. She's asleep on it now. And yeah, I hope you've hit the subscribe button. Do you want me to see me play this deck? There's a link down below to my Twitch channel. Come and give us a follow over there. There's 203 people sitting on Twitch at the moment. The more the merrier. Streaming on a Thursday night UK time and a Sunday afternoon UK time. Most of the time. And when you get the follow, when you come and follow me over there, you get to come and join our Discord where we spend a lot of time talking about, I don't know, Commander, random things, pictures of our dogs go up there, people's artwork, whatever you want to talk about goes on the Discord, but we keep it quiet apart from the people who are followers. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll come and see me in another video very soon. Take care. See you soon. Bye.